We live in a world that teaches us that we need to think about what we're doing before we feel into what we're doing, that we have to think about what we're about to say, or we just live in our minds a lot, in our brains a lot. But what if the true wisdom was in our hearts? What if all of the information that we needed was actually in our hearts? I'm Dr. Nancy de Andrade, and I teach about self-awareness and holistic approaches and psychology. And I want to share with you today about the way that we sometimes perceive emotions as our enemies. It's not easy. Emotions can get overwhelming. And something that I want to say right away is feeling emotions is not a weakness. It's not something that we need to fix. Like, I'm feeling sad, let me fix that, let me get better, let me numb, let me run and try to cover it. Emotions are actually information. I say this all the time. Emotion is just information. It's a signal that is saying, hey, we need to understand something here. But everything has to start first with awareness. Awareness of what is happening in our bodies first. Because emotions show up way before the mind even makes sense of what is happening. We first perceive a fear or an emotion, and then our mind interprets that. It's sort of like the same with pain. The mind interprets pain, and so the same way with sadness or anger or joy, we feel it in our bodies first, and then our mind says, oh, that must be exciting, or that must be anxiety. It's the same emotion, the same experience, but two different interpretations. So the way to connect to the message that the body is saying is by first introducing a pause. Because we're so quick to react, we're so quick to interpret, we believe our minds, and we're so quick to run into solutions or reactions. And introducing a pause is so powerful because it lets us take a moment to recognize what is really happening. What is it that we're getting triggered? Because between what triggers us and our reaction, we have choice. That's where choice stays, right there. In that space where we have choice, where we have a space to really feel our emotions, that's where healing can begin. When we immediately react based on a trigger that we're experiencing, we're not even connecting to ourselves. We're not connecting to the wound that we might be experiencing. We're just immediately either blaming the situation or the person. We're reacting. So the pause helps us recognize that our emotions are important, and then our emotions are also telling us something. And of course, from a young age, we learn that emotions are not safe. That's why we have to think quickly, because feeling our emotions have not felt like they are received or that they are something that it's okay to have. So we often shut down, or we mask it, or we pretend we don't have emotions, or we turn it into another type of emotion. And we do this to survive, to protect us, is to be able to accommodate to the environment and do the best that we can. But this survival mechanism worked when we were young, but it doesn't work now, because now is costly. Now is costing us connection. The cost of detaching from our emotions is disconnection. Being emotionally intelligent is not about controlling. It's not about controlling your emotions, like, oh, I have to feel this way, I have to do that, which, in some ways is a good thing, to control your emotions so you have time to connect to you. But that is what emotional intelligence is. It's about connection. It's about connection to yourself. It's about connection to your story, to the truth of who you are, the truth of your emotions. It's about feeling those feelings that you've been wanting to avoid. That is what emotional intelligence is about connecting with that part of you inside of you. And reconnecting with your emotions is not easy. It takes a lot of courage. It definitely takes a lot of courage to feel the trauma, to feel the past, to feel those emotions again. If it takes a lot of courage to to face discomfort, but it's through that courage, is through going and moving past the discomfort that we build resilience. And it's through that feeling, through the emotions that you're experiencing, that we actually rediscover our strength. We start experiencing now the truth of who we are by, I always say the way out is through, but it's actually the way in the way into your life, to your emotions, is pausing and going in. So the main thing that I want to say is your emotions are not your enemy. They are your guide. So the journey of healing starts with one small pause, so you can build that self-awareness.